Okay. Okay, we're almost done. Just a couple of examples, and then I'm going to leave you with a problem to try to solve on your own. And then you can get started on your homework and assignments for this section. So we're going to finish out with a problem here. I want you to write a program that reads a text file and adds line numbers at the beginning of each line. So this is a good place to pause the video and maybe work through the problem on your own, either on paper or in your compiler. However you like to work, this is a good place to stop and take a minute to practice the problem before moving on to the solution. Just remember to not make this problem harder than it is. So it's not a difficult problem. It should be pretty easy to get through. Okay, so in looking at the solution, you can see that we have an integer variable called count, and you may have started your count at 1, and that's totally fine. I think it's very reasonable to start a line count with 1. But I want to call your attention to the while loop. So I'm checking to make sure that there's another line before continuing in the loop. And then I'm going to create a string variable called line, and I'm going to put each of those lines into that string variable. Now, I'm not really doing anything else other than that. So I'm just going to print out the count, whichever iteration I'm on, and then the line from that input file, making sure that I'm also increasing my count variable as I go. So again, not a very difficult little code snippet. Should have been pretty easy to practice with. Just a couple of little little conditions here, and we're working through and printing out each of the lines from the input file. Moving on to the next problem, how can we count the tokens on each line of a file? So now, kind of adding on to what we just did, if it has multiple tokens on that line, how are we going to count each of the tokens on that line? So again, this is a good place to press pause and check and see how this might work within a compiler, or even just making some notes in your notebook too. Moving on to the solution, really we're going to count the tokens on each line of a file just the way that we did. So we started out the same way that we did in that previous example, right? So we're checking for our next line. We're going to create a string variable called line and put that line into the string variable. But now we're creating a scanner to put our string into. So now we have a scanner line scan that we're going to read that line. Once again, we have another count variable, integer variable, but now we have a loop within a loop. Okay, so we're getting the line, and then we're going to go through within that line. We're going to go through within that loop, and we're going to check that there's another token before going on. So we're checking that scanner to make sure that there's another token, and we're going to create a string variable called token, and we're going to grab each of those tokens each time we go through that loop. Okay, each time we go through that loop. At the end of that string, at the end of that line, we're going to go back, grab another line, and go through it all again. Okay, you can see down at the bottom of the slide what the input file looks like, and then what also is happening with the output file. So you can see that it was right on. It gave us 6 tokens for the first line, and then 2 tokens for the second line, which was exactly what we were expecting. So the last problem, I'm going to give you the problem, but I'm not going to give you the solution. I want you to work through it on your own and practice. So if you're given a file with the following contents, again, it has some numbers, it has a name, and then some more numbers as doubles. I want you to consider this task, um, this task as computing hours worked by each of these people. And remember that we can use this approach of breaking the input into lines and then breaking each line into tokens. So good luck with that. And this is going to conclude the week 12 content for File IO. If you have any questions, please post them in Piazza, or email your instructor, or visit the help desk on Microsoft Teams. We're all willing to help you, and we're all here for you, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Okay? Have a great week, and I will see you next week with week 13 content. Thank you.